welcome back to Globe Inside the Markets. I'm your host Sunlight, and today I'm welcoming to the show Marty. So, watch on to find out about crypto options trading, his thoughts on altcoins versus majors and when you should trade them or not, and any tips and tricks for trading. Welcome to the show, Marty. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, thank you. So let's jump right into things. Could you tell us a bit about yourself and your journey into crypto trading?
Sure. Right now we run a options-based firm. We've been short volatility since, I guess, November, the FTX crash. But before that, we were Delta One market makers on various products or various platforms, mainly on the FTX platforms. Getting into crypto, I don't know. It all started, my friends were using Bitcoin to buy some fun stuff online. I guess the price was about $100 at the time, and I wasn't that old at the time, and I didn't have that much money, but I saw some potential. So I guess I started the journey down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. I bought as many spot Bitcoin as I could, and it wasn't at the time it wasn't easy to get physical coins, right? So there was a whole process, and ended up just buying from my buddies. Um, My first 10x was 100 to 1,000, and then I wrote it all the way down and lost everything. And then was like, okay, how do we trade this thing, right? Right? How do we get into to making more coin? And probably did the same thing everybody did. Started to draw lines on the chart, started to get into TA and all that fiasco. And I guess Deribit came out in 2017 or 2018. So something right around there. So there was already the second cycle, and thank God, I had a little bit more money and rode that one all the way up. And then we started actually getting out of TA and started market making around that time, and getting into options as that time as well, but more as a directional trader, not as market makers or not as sellers of volatility. We were, buying directional bets. And then we got into using options for hedging, and created a small fund. I used to work for another little fund, and then I created my own firm fund, and then we're here now. I guess it's been a few years now, two or 3 years now, running our own shop.
Okay, and so obviously with you mentioned with the whole FTX thing, I mean, there's been a lot of market makers lately, exiting the cryptosphere. Could you tell us a bit about your thoughts on that?
Yeah, all the bigger players were in the US, right? So there was a bunch of regulatory stuff that came after FTX, and a lot of the bigger players also had like a VC arm, right? So they also lost a lot of money in their VC arm investments. After FTX, I don't know, the biggest one is like Jump, right? Jump kind of halted stuff. Most of their stuff was in the US. Everybody ended up moving offshore. Everybody needed banking at the same time. Um, from what we know, it took like 8 to 12 weeks to get a bank account from these institutional banks offshore, instead of like, maybe a couple of weeks of due diligence and things like this. After FTX crash, we stopped doing Delta One stuff and we went into option market making. Options is in crypto is still new, right? So maybe there's various prices on various platforms. There's different flows that you can capture, but in crypto volatility, you are playing with the smartest players, maybe not the biggest players, but a lot of ex-TradFi guys came into the crypto vol space because they kind of saw the same flows that we were seeing. There's a lot of money to be made in the pricing discrepancies.
Mhm. So it's kind of like a venue arbitrage almost.
Well, you can go play the big leagues. Then you can go into market making DeFi, where you can go market make these altcoin options, which are like totally mispriced, and unless there's like a huge underlying move, then essentially the buyer will never make any money on any altcoin options right now.
Oh, awesome. Actually, so to speak more on altcoins, actually, what are your thoughts on that? Like versus the majors, and when would you trade them?
I would never buy uh alt options. We tried to buy some maker calls the other day, and essentially like you would get screwed in like a week, right? Paying theta in the IV was like 150 or something, which is like super high for any option. I think it would have worked out in our favor because Maker had a huge directional move. But if you're trying to buy directional altcoin options, you really need this huge underlying move, or you would never make any money. The makers always win on those for sure. You're gonna pay GSR and Cumberland and whoever else always.
Mm. Okay, awesome. So you're focused on more like majors then?
Yeah, right now we trade coin margin contracts on Deribit mostly. So the whole goal is to accumulate as many coins as we can. Um, and essentially you double dip, right? If price is going up in your coin margins, you make more money in dollars and you make more money in coin, right? You're double dipping on this price increase. So right now when volatility is low, price is, I don't know, stagnant basically, right? Price hasn't done much. I guess since the beginning of the year it's gone up, but for the last few months it's just been sideways. It's always good to accumulate more coins. Eventually, we'll flip into long volatility when the vol regime changes. Unfortunately, you can't time when a vol regime changes. You can only guesstimate, right? And I think a lot of people are saying maybe that this is the bottom of volatility, or now is a good time to buy long dated Vega, right? Long dated trades. I tend to agree with that take. I don't know, maybe we can go into that. Um, Deribit Devol's like 34 right now, which is like all-time low, like very low. It's just been down and to the right since November FTX crash and the Chappelle update, the East Chappelle update. So a lot of players are saying that, well, it's risky to sell down here because selling options is very risky and you're at risk of getting blown out. So a lot of players are selling this short dated garbage and buying long dated Vegas. So they'll buy some, I don't know, end of year, January, June contracts for 2024 in hopes that IV rises by that time, which is probably right? When we're at all-time lows like this, it's probably the right view that will climb up from there.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So, you actually just mentioned vol regime. So, could you explain what that is and how you take advantage of each regime, let's say?
Yeah, it's kind of like a for anybody who's like a crypto person, I guess the easiest way is like a Bitcoin cycle is the easiest way to explain a vol regime. There's various points where vol is just up and to the right, and there's various points where vol is just down and to the right. If you go look at the devol chart or the BVIV or EVIV, the Volmex volatility products, it's just been down and to the right, right? In terms of volatility, price maybe has gone up since January, but volatility still down, right? We're getting moves of 0.0336% today. Wow, like everybody came into crypto for this super high vol product, high volatility product, where we're getting $5,000 Bitcoin moves in one day, right? So in terms of vol regimes, right now we're in a very long, muted vol regime. Nothing's happening. All of the big players exited, like we spoke earlier, or slowed down, I guess. Maybe not 100% exited, but have slowed down. Uh, Credit's tight. There's not as much lending. There's not as much froth. So volatility just goes down and to the right. Eventually, vol will spike or trend upwards. But right now, you would need a time or a black swan event. And I don't think we need another black swan event in the crypto space, or everybody's going to laugh at us again.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. So obviously you can't, time the regime. So do you personally have any like market signals or tells that makes you go, oh, like there might be a move happening here?
I think we were all expecting this XRP news and this BlackRock news and this ETF news to bring volatility back. It wasn't on my bingo card for the year. I was more looking for 2024 and the halving and the 2024 Bitcoin, 2024 U.S. presidential election to bring vol back in like a natural, organic way. There was time. Maybe there's more credit available. Maybe we can get some more activity, some more froth. But there's a huge ETH player that's been winning for like a year and a half or so, 18 months. And this guy he's always doing these short calendar plays. So he rolls it quarter to quarter, or month to month, whatever he likes to do. And it was interesting because when the XRP news came out, he covered instantly. And I don't think like we can't time this vol regime to change, right? Vol could spike from a 34 handle to a 60 handle, and the guy could have got totally washed in a day or a couple hours. And I forgot exactly what the handle was at the time, but he essentially lost, right? And he covered everything within 5 minutes. And if he would have just held on for the end of the day or held on for a couple days, he actually would have made money instead of lost money. And if he would have held until today, he would have been up a lot. So I think a lot of people got spooked and nobody was really sure if the XRP SEC thing was going to bring it back or the BlackRock thing, the ETFs were going to bring it back. Um, right now, the only thing you can do is nibble this long dated Vega, which is your bet that IV rises in the future. You're not really sure when, right? You can't time it, but I don't think you want to be offsides on that move. I think, yeah, I don't think you want to be short into the end of 2024 or middle of 2024 right now.
Awesome. So that's a bit of positivity for the end of next year. But so right now, could you talk us through your favorite trading strategies?
Well, we do all automated option stuff now, right? It's less manually clicking buttons. I actually did some manual scalping on WorldCoin when that launched because it was just down and to the right as soon as it launched. So that was fun to play manual. But in terms of strategies, our bot sells options that are overpriced and will cover them when it feels like it's time, when it's made enough money or it's held all the way to expiry and collected data all the way through. Um, in terms of manual trading, I haven't put on a lot of size in terms of scalping or directional trades. We try to stay as non-directional as possible. Of course, we want it to go up. Our coins will go up. Volatility will rise. I think if price keeps going up, volatility will come back. I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think you want this black swan where price is nuking to bring back volatility. That would not be good for the space at all.
We know that black swan events can really affect the crypto market and public perception. However, what do you think about the macroeconomic environment and how that can affect the crypto markets?
Yeah, Bitcoin is a follower of USD liquidity, right? So when the money printer is on, Bitcoin just becomes another risk asset. So you'll see everything go up, right? I think right now in stocks you have everybody playing with the shiny new toy, AI, and a lot of companies cut a lot of jobs and ended up turning into stock buyback, right? And shareholders love stock buybacks, right? Price will go up when they cut jobs. People think that price will go down if they cut jobs, or maybe the company's not doing well. Well, when they cut jobs, margins become better, price goes up, or when there's stock buybacks, price goes up. In terms of overall, I hope that we're done hiking in the US, right? In the US system. I think that the UK is absolutely screwed right now in terms of inflation and they had Brexit and all of these things. I talked with David from Paradigm about that last week on our show, and he's more the macro guy, and he was like the UK is totally screwed. Eurozone will be okay. ECB will be all right because they're ahead of this curve, and the US is probably ahead of everybody. We live in Brazil right now, and it's a little different than uh, that whole regime, right? Inflation is about the same as the US, but rates are like 13.7%, something insane, right? So nobody's buying houses here. Everybody's buying Brazilian bonds and holding, like even in my savings account, I'm getting 13.5% like for the last 2 years. That's totally insane, especially someone from the US is getting like 0.01%, or maybe they're getting 4% in a money market or something like this. In terms of the overall picture, I hope that the US is done hiking. I think that there will be a pause, but I don't think that they'll cut rates as fast as people are thinking. I think that the inflationary cycle is going to be a little more sticky and than most people are expecting. I hope that the U.S. starts cutting as fast as possible and all risk assets continue to go up, right? That's my dream. That would be amazing. I don't think that we're there yet. I'm not really sure when they're going to cut. I think that they'll pause, and this data is like takes forever to get through the system. Like you can't just hike and then the next month, oh yeah, inflation's changed so much because we hiked, you know, 25 basis points last month. It doesn't really work like that. You'll see it like come into effect 6 months to a year later. I don't think that we're going to have like this double dip recession. I don't know. This is recorded, right? So somebody will find it if I'm wrong, right? But I don't think we're going to get this huge recession, hard landing. Um, I mean, just go look at S&P this morning or SPX this morning. Let's see. The bottom was like October at like 3,400, and we're at 4,500. We're up 31% in almost a year. And the COVID bottom was like 2,200. So all of these people calling for like, global recession, the world's ending. Yeah, I think that they just lost a lot of money if they were betting, right? If they were short, I mean, there's no way that these people are still around. I'm sure we'll chop, and I'm sure the markets will go up and down, but eventually we'll come out of it, and risk assets will come back, and everybody will be happy again. Everybody will be making money. It's super sad when volatility is super low and crypto's just sideways, like crypto Twitter, crypto X, I don't even know what we call it, is super sad and super lame, and everybody's a hater, and there's a hack every other day, and I don't know. Every day, I was telling my wife this, like every day, it's just like something. Yesterday was this kid is getting hated on for, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, and then the day before that is a hack, and then the day before that is, something else. Somebody shilling a casino, and people don't like it. It's always something. But this will all go away, I hope, when price is up and to the right, and everybody's making money.
Yeah, awesome. And so all these people, crying wolf about, recession, do you think there's no basis to that though? Do you think they're just spreading FUD?
No, I mean, you could see the US go into recession, right? All this data is like lagging. It's like super behind. It's not like I said, it's not like you raise 25 basis points and then next month, oh yeah, inflation came down so much. I hope that we see the US dig out of it, right? Of course, there's always cycles, but let's say the US stops cutting, or sorry, starts cutting, or maybe there's a pause. The money printer comes back on for 2024 election. I just don't see like the stock market going super low into the 2024 election, right? Like, who wants to vote for that person when their stocks are nuking or are down, right? Um, and I think a lot of people are off sides, right? I think the only winners here were the people that bet on tech and chips and this whole AI movement. Other than that, I don't know. maybe some meme stocks or something that have flown. But I think a lot of people were caught off sides. A lot of people were thinking we're gonna top, I don't know, let's say Amazon $100 or Google $100, Facebook 100, Meta $100. Everybody thought we were going to chop kind of around here, and since the beginning of the year, it's just been up and to the right. Thank God to new chips and NVIDIA and AI. But I think this is kind of like the beginning of like a AI froth, right? Not everybody's in the AI space is going to be a winner. There'll be some bigger winners, and I think a lot of people put their money on the chip makers, right? So they put their money on NVIDIA and AMD, and like they're like, we're not sure which stock is going to go up, but we know that the makers are going to go up, right?
Absolutely. And with the whole AI thing, could you kind of liken it to the whole, dot-com bubble in the 90s? And then, because obviously that's a massive trend right now. And, you know, uh, there's this joke that like you can put AI into your deck and then you'll get like tons of VC funding. Do you reckon AI will kind of go down that same route as the dot-coms?
Yeah, I don't think that there's everybody is going to be a winner, right? You got a lot like that, right? You put AI into your deck or you pivoted to AI and you were able to raise a new round and all this stuff. Like not all of those people are going to be able to win, right? So I think you're going to see a lot of VC money flush and burned, but I think you're also going to see a lot of um, winners as well, right? I don't think we all want like this Black Mirror AI thing, right? Where you're talking to the bot all day like a glorified Siri. I hope not, right? But there's some potential here for like, especially like, I don't know, let's say like Expedia or something. You're like, oh, I want to book a hotel. You just say like, I want to book a hotel here, a 3 or 4 star, 5 star hotel. I want to fly business class. I want no layover. I want a direct flight and I don't know, I want whatever my meal is or whatever. And you hit send. And it's like, okay, here's your whole itinerary. It's all booked. It's all done. You're saying these days to these days. Like, I think that there's potential there for like enterprise software for sure and enterprise AI. There'll be some winners there for sure, but I'm not sure that everybody can be a winner in terms of putting AI into your pitch deck and then, you know, you're just going to burn, right? Your burn rate is too high, and not everybody's going to be able to profit. I don't think it's going to be like that bad where we get like a dot-com crash. I think that you'll just see like an AI crash, like all these VCs lost money, or they're not able to raise, or it's a little overhyped, right? Everybody was playing with Chat GPT and I don't know, January or February, something like this. That was like, my grandma was texting me about it. And I was like, okay, well, let me buy some leaps and some shares in NVIDIA and AMD. Like these are the players. And those did, amazingly well. But yeah, I just don't think that you're going to have like this AI rules the world. I think we're at this beginning stages of what AI can do and what it can build. I'm not like a AI expert by any means, right? But yeah, like I think we're at like this iPhone era, right? Like the first iPhone. We're at like this iteration. Like iPhone was what, like 15 years ago, 14, 15 years ago, and go look at the first iPhone to the one now, right? We can shoot video in 4K, we can live stream like from anywhere in the world, and in 4K you can take crazy photos, you can send gigabytes and terabytes of data over the internet fast. We're at like this inception point of what AI can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so exciting to kind of be at the start of it. So talking of trends, actually, what are you most excited for to see within the cryptosphere?
I'm here to see the crypto options, or I'm excited to see. I'm here to make money, right? But I'm excited to see the crypto option space grow. We're still in this like baby phase of exchanges listing it, of volume, of retail turning pro-tail and using options even to hedge or to, I don't know, sell covered calls and create income or however you want to look at it, right? You just saw this hype on Twitter that a lot of bigger accounts started getting into options, but maybe I'm not an expert, right? Because even I'm not an expert, right? I'm still learning daily, right? There's more sophisticated players than yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's weird to see like, like a big account that trades perps or something and now they're getting into options, right? Maybe we're creating like this options hype, this options froth, and maybe that's what we need to see retail get into options. I'm here for it, right? I'm totally in for people learning about options and teaching people and doing write-ups and newsletters and providing information and knowledge. I'm totally in for this. I guess I'm happy to see, or I'm excited to see the options, the crypto option space, crypto vol space grow over time because right now it's controlled by a handful of sophisticated players that are old TradFi guys that aren't they just came for the money. They're maybe not even here for crypto. They're just here to make money, which is fine too.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I've had a few, options traders on the show, and I was wondering, why would you prefer options as opposed to perps, like you mentioned?
Options are the best financial tool to make money in any sort of market condition. So options help us make money in this low muted vol regime. I'm sure you can go make Delta One stuff, right? You can go make perps and things like that. It's a very crowded space. It's a very cutthroat space, and unless you're getting preferential fees, same with options, I guess a little bit, but more in perps. Let's go say you want to make on a bigger exchange, unless you're getting preferential fees and you're racking the server in the same AWS warehouse as these guys, you're going to get beat essentially, right? Somebody with more money is doing the same thing as you and is going to beat you out every time. It's kind of like front running you essentially, right? Somebody will always be faster. Options are still new and still in this baby form. We still host on the same AWS servers and all this, but it's way less like cutthroat. You're not making like a couple basis points per trade. You're making way more than that, especially on the spread on some of these other options exchanges, not like super tight on Deribit. Let's say OKX or Bybit or these DeFi protocols. The spreads are so wide that there's so much money to be made compared to market making Delta One stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have any tips for newbie traders at all?
Tips. If you're getting into trading, my pinned tweet, the Marty pinned tweet, I guess we could put in the show notes or something, is a book list of like 10 books. Some of them are not related to options at all. I would say some are stories of traders, um, interviews of traders, and then it gets more into options and maybe all the way to like a grad school level, the holy grail of derivatives books, right? You can go as deep as you want. Options and derivatives is like the deepest, darkest rabbit hole that you can go down. If you're just getting into options trading specifically, don't over leverage, right? Even I guess in perps, like don't over leverage. If you're starting to sell options, if you have one Bitcoin, only sell one contract, and yeah, maybe you're only going to make I don't know $50 for $100, but it's better than losing, your whole coin. Yeah, that would be my only tip is do not over leverage, especially when selling and especially when selling at this super low vol right now because you can get blown out. I don't know if you've ever seen the video of the guy from optionsellers.com. I'll send it to you if you haven't watched it. The guy's like crying on YouTube saying that he ran a fund, a short volatility fund, and essentially got blown out. And he's like crying, saying that his investors are his family and he's so sad. And oh, it's a great video. So yeah, don't be that guy.
Fair enough. Thank you so much for watching this episode. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Marty, for your time. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.